Hi YouTube, this is Tal. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am breaking down the steps that you must follow when you're contacted for an affordable housing interview. Well, eligibility appointment rather. It was formerly called interview, now it's called eligibility appointment. So these are the 15 steps that you must follow. I'm breaking down everything for you. This week, well, last week rather, I received a lot of email just asking for guidance through the appointment process. So many applicants were so overwhelmed about the appointment. Like, I literally had a few people that said, my appointment is coming up and I'm just so nervous. How can I prepare? What should I do? So let me just first say, and this I hope will take the attention of you. It is nothing that you have to, it's not like a job interview, and they cannot reject you based on your eligibility appointment unless, it will have to be an extreme circumstance for you to be rejected at an eligibility appointment. So it's not based on like how well you present yourself or anything along that lines. If you are extremely disrespectful to the agent, then, in rare circumstances, you can actually, that could impact your eligibility, but rare circumstances. But it's not something that you have to be overwhelmed about. It's not something that you have to practice for. No. It's just you and an agent speaking. It's really about your eligibility and the documents that you present. So just always keep in mind that your qualification is based on you meeting the guidelines and the income requirement. It's not so much about your disposition or how well you present yourself at the eligibility appointment. So nevertheless, let's get into it. Again, 15 steps, and please share this video for anyone that have an upcoming appointment. They definitely want to watch this so they can know exactly what to have, what steps to follow. That way they are well prepared for their eligibility appointment. That's all it's really about, preparation, not so much character. So first, step one, when you receive that email or that letter in the mail, your application has been randomly selected. Obviously, you're going to be overjoyed. And by all means, take the first few minutes to celebrate. However, after you do your jump up and down, read the entire letter. Everything. Not just the first section. Read through every single thing in that letter from top to bottom. So that's step number one. I just made notes because I don't want to miss anything. So step number two, pay attention to the dates on the letter. So some landlord, they propose a few dates while others say contact this number and schedule an appointment. So if you're given the option of a few dates, my recommendation is to select the soonest date. Why I say that is because oftentimes, like, you don't know where they are in the process. You do not know how many units they have remaining. So if they have 5 units remaining and they reach out to the 5 last applicants, and if you're the last person to go in, that means the other 4 before you, they likely had an option to choose between units. So I always say get in there as soon as possible. These units are all first come, first served. So if there's 5 units and you picked the soonest day and you get in there, you're able to at least have options. So it's likely that you'll be able to see more than one apartment. So I always recommend picking the closest date. Get in there as soon as possible. It's a first come, first served basis, and there's thousands of applicants. So you certainly do not want to delay that process for yourself. If they advise you to contact them for a date, do so. And pick the earliest date that's convenient for you. Just make sure you're being reasonable. I wouldn't want to delay a process that I've been waiting for so long to get selected. So just always be mindful of that. Step number 3, the day you receive the letter, that is when you should start gathering the documents that's needed. Why I say that? A lot of time, like, oh, I have time, And then when it's close to your appointment, guess what? You can't find the documents that you need. Or now you didn't realize that you don't have this document and you have to reach out to someone else to get that document. And you don't want to have that type of anxiety at the last minute. So the day that you receive the letter, start preparing what you have. For example, just know that pay stubs are going to be needed, asset information. So you want to start gathering all of that information. One thing I want to point out, and pay close attention to this, because there's a lot of misconception about the affordable housing program. So just keep in mind, say for example, you applied on the Housing Connect website last November, and when you applied, you were employed by, for example, Chase Bank, and that is the information that you entered in Housing Connect. But in January of 2020, you ended your employment with Chase Bank and you're now employed by TD Bank. When you go to that eligibility appointment, you are not bringing your information from your former employer. You are bringing current information. So just please pay close attention to that, because there's a lot of misconception where people feel as though they have to bring information based off what they entered in Housing Connect. So if you're no longer employed with that employer, you're not bringing any pay stub from that employer, because it would not be a projection of what your income will be. So as I have explained in my previous videos, the affordable housing program projects your income for the next 12 months. So previous income, the only circumstance, there's rare circumstances in which your previous income is assessed, but particularly if you're a W-2 employee and you're no longer, the same example I gave earlier, you're no longer employed by Chase, you're not going to bring the 6 pay statements from Chase. What you're now going to bring is a 6 pay statement from TD Bank, who is now your current employer. What you will, however, need from Chase is an end of employment letter stating that you are no longer employed there. And these are insider tips because you're gonna need them. So if you're watching this video, just prepare ahead. Like, I want you guys to go to these eligibility appointment with confidence. Let them wonder, like, is this person in the industry, like, where are they getting this information from? Let them, when you show up, have an understanding of what you're getting into. Hence the reason I'm making these videos. I'm really taking time out to make these videos because I want you guys to be fully aware of what to expect in the process. So surprise these specialists when you go there. Like, does she have someone, or does he have someone in their family that's like, you know, in this industry? How do they know all of this? So nevertheless, as I mentioned, what you would need is an end of employment letter from Chase stating that you're no longer employed there. That is something that you could request from them, or if you had like a separation agreement, you can use that, or they could email you something, or if you have any official email correspondence showing, you know, you're no longer employed and when was your last day. So that will be the only thing that's relevant from previous employment. So just think about it like this. Whatever, and this goes for assets as well. Say when you applied and you entered information on Housing Connect, you had HSBC Bank, and now you no longer have HSBC Bank. Be sure that you have some form of document showing that you no longer have that account has been closed. That's all you're gonna need as it pertains to previous information. So I just want to be clear about that. So in that same employment information, when you're gathering your documents, you're making sure that you have your last 6 pay statements from TD Bank. Say for example, you started in late January and you did not receive 6 pay statements thus far. That's okay. Bring the amount of pay statements you received, and what you could also bring is your offer letter. So your pay statement, your offer letter, and if you can, you know, have your employer write you a verification letter. Just make sure it's officially stamped by the company. just stating when your start date was and what your salary is. So you're gonna bring that all together to support your new income. So do not bring the 6 pay statements from your previous employer, even though that may have been listed on your application. So if you guys have any questions about that, just comment below and I'll further clarify that for you. For your bank statements, I mentioned this in my previous video and I keep stressing it because it's no joke. Like, I actually have an audit coming up, and the first thing the agency, well, not the first, but one of the main things the agency, I already know this, but just to let you guys know the extent of how hard they're going about this, is that they're telling me, when you submit your files, be sure that all reoccurring deposits on the resident's bank statements are clarified. So I mentioned this in previous videos. If you're one of those person that have a million Zeller, whatever they call it, some people say Zelle, some say Zelly, or whatever it is, you guys know what I'm talking about, or Cash App, or Venmo, if you have a lot of reoccurring deposit on your bank statements, because they're gonna ask for the 6 most recent bank statements for your checking account and the most recent statement for your saving. So if you have a lot of reoccurring deposits on your checking account and it's from these third-party apps where you could just transfer money, be sure to write a memo, because they're going to tell you to write one anyway. So I'm telling you ahead of time. So for example, if you have 20 deposits from Mary and Mary's not a part of your household, they're gonna ask you, well, why is Mary depositing these money? Like, is this additional income? Is this gift income? Is this employment income? They need to know what that is, because they have to determine if this is additional income, and if it is additional income, it has to be counted. So for example, if say you bought Mary a computer last summer, and Mary has been depositing these money to pay you back, you have to literally write a memo, in some cases an affidavit notarized, clarifying that, in August 2019, I purchased a computer for Mary, and Mary, these deposits in my account, or is Mary paying me back for the computer that I purchased for her, or what have you. That's just an example. But once that deposit is reoccurring, you have to clarify it. And also, if you have transfers between accounts, just make sure you're providing all your asset information. Don't choose which account you should send them. Or even if the account has no money in it, you still need to provide the statements for that account. So I hope that's clear. I did a previous video talking more about reoccurring deposit. You're always gonna need a memo. There is no 2 ways about it. Yeah, this is not something you may not have to bring to the first appointment, but they're gonna ask you for it anyway. So being that you're watching this video and you already know they're gonna ask you for it, you might as well bring it for them. The point in this process is just to eliminate the back and forth as much as you can. So you know it right now, just already go ahead and shoot for it. Review your bank statements. If you see that you have a lot of reoccurring deposits from the same person, just make sure you clarify what it is so they know if it's additional income or not. And just also know that if it is additional income, it's fine. It's no problem. If Mary was depositing that money just to help you with your bills, that's fine. But just know that they're gonna count that income as a part of your household income. So just be clear on that. And the other thing regarding bank statements, please, 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 it's a pet peeve of mine. Bring all pages. So if it says 1 of 6 pages, please bring all pages. Don't pick and choose which one you think they need. And do not cover your account information. Please do not do that, because you're gonna have to send them the documents anyway. So let me move on to number 4. Number 4, this is critical. Review the dates of the documents you're providing. So for your bank statements and your pay statements, they need consecutive statements. consecutive documents. So always pay attention to the dates, particularly with your pay statements. If you're not familiar with just how your pay cycle works, Google the week number calendar, look at your check date, and you will know when will be the next date of the pay stub that you need. So make sure you're following that. You don't want to miss any pay statements, because then if you miss something, you have to send it back to them. So pay attention to the dates of the documents that you're sending. Number 5, organize your documents in groups. What I mean by this, you put income with income. So if your pay statements, you put that along with, say you have a letter from your employer, you put that together. Assets, you put together. So when you gather your bank information, so if you have a checking account, you put your checking account statements together with your savings, your retirement. Organize everything so you could easily go through to confirm that you have all the information needed. And also just enclose it in a folder. Like, just be organized, so that way you don't have a bunch of stuff and you have to go to the eligibility appointment scrambling through documents. You don't want to do that. So number 6, please arrive on time for your eligibility appointment. Again, keep in mind that thousands of people applied, and a lot of times there's so much pressure on these leasing agents, and everything is scheduled because there's deadlines that, you know, the landlord hold the workers to, and there's a deadline that the agency holds the landlord to. So everything is systematic. So just arrive on time, be prepared, just respect their time. Number 7. I know some may not be like, oh, well, I want to know. So understand what I'm saying with this one. Avoid, for your eligibility appointment, avoid asking too many what if questions. What do I mean by that? Like, you don't want to bring up a million scenarios, like, what if this happened, and what if that happened, and what if that happened? Because it kind of begs the question what your intentions are. And from my experience, at least 90% of the time, people who ask certain what if questions, they have other motives, and then I end up catching them somewhere along the process. Like, what if my cousin move in, or what if my boyfriend this, or what if I go away for 6 months, can I leave this person in the unit? I'm not saying you're not going to want the answers for those questions, but just be mindful of the questions that you're asking, because, you know, it kind of just sometimes raises a red flag. And at that point, like, I'm investigating everything, because I'm wondering, okay, is your intention to move someone in right as you get approved, or what is your intentions? Because you have to remember, these units are all, the income and unit size is all based on the number of households. So, you know, people try to win over the system, so just be mindful of the what if questions that you're asking. Next, note the name and email of the person that you meet with. Do not leave that appointment forgetting who you had the appointment with. Like, it is very important, because one, God forbid anything goes south, you want to know who you met with. And if you're sending an email, or if you have to appeal, you want to know the staff that you dealt with. So trust me, take my word on this, and coming from a landlord's end, take the name and email of the person that you met with. You're gonna need it. Next, take notes of any missing documents that they advise that they need. And if you're not sure what they're asking for, ask them to clarify it. And be sure to note the timeline in which you have to provide that document as well. And this next step is very, very important. Actually, I just went through this with two different well, one is a colleague of mine, and one is a friend of my accountant. Always, when you submit any information, have them confirm receipt. Always. So whether you fax something or email it, always have them confirm receipt, and always put a read receipt on your email. Always. If you're not sure how to do that in Outlook, you just go to options, and then as you go to the far right, you'll see a box that says delivery, the delivery receipt, and then you'll see one that says read receipt. Always put a read receipt on it, because when your email is read, you'll get an email indicating that your email is read. So be sure to do that. And keep everything via email. So I know in certain circumstances they will call you, that's fine. After that conversation, send them an email, say thank you so much for speaking with me. As discussed during our conversation, X, Y, and Z. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Always summarize your conversation in the email, because if you don't, when stuff goes south in your application, if it does, hopefully it doesn't, it's your word against theirs. So always send an email after you speak with them, or for the most part, just try to keep everything in email. Me particularly, I keep everything in an email. And then last but not least, this is the most important one. Be patient. Be patient. Like, I know you're anxious. I know you want to know, okay, submit my documents, so what's next? Be patient. That's what's next. Just as long as once you leave your appointment, and if there's additional documents, you submitted those, just, pay attention to your email, and just be aware if they give you a call, just be sure to return their call. But outside of that, just be patient. And what's being patient? A reasonable time. So if you go in for an appointment, I would typically say give it at least 7 business days before you follow up. It is a process. There's a lot of behind the scene process. And again, there's also a lot of people, and we don't know how they're doing it, because different developers do it differently. So you don't know if they did a bunch of appointments and then they're gonna go through the compliance process. Like, you don't know their whole workflow. So just be patient. I think a reasonable time, again, is 7 to 10 business days before you follow up. After that, do a follow-up via email. Hey, it was so nice to meet you on XYZ date. I'm just checking in to make sure that nothing is needed on my end. If anything is needed, please feel free to reach out to me. I look forward to hearing from you. That's it. If you send that email and you don't hear back from them within another 3 business days or so, 2 to 3 business days, then you could do a follow-up call to say, hey, you're checking in, you want to know what's going on with your application. And then based on the conversation, and just ask them, is there a timeline? You could say stuff like, I want to make sure I give my landlord adequate notice. Should I be approved? So I'm just checking in to see, is there an anticipated timeline where I could expect to hear back from you? That's all. Keep it respectful, keep it basic. It's a million, you're not the only application you're processing. So be mindful of that. But those are the tips I have for you. I don't think that was 15. I think I messed up my numbers. But those are all the tips I noted. And I hope this was very helpful for you. And I guarantee you, if you follow these steps and you're really attentive to the documents that you're submitting, you will do great for your eligibility appointment. Again, show up confident. Let them be surprised. Let them wonder, how do you know? How did you even know how to bring this? Or that's what I want to happen. And thank everyone that emailed me great news. This week, one person told me they were approved, so I was so excited about that. Another person went to their appointment, so they're waiting to hear back. And unfortunately, one person is a couple people are in the appeal process. So my next video is gonna be the steps to follow when you're rejected and you're putting together an appeal. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to share this video with your friends or your family. If you know anyone that's going to an eligibility appointment, share this video with them so they could also be prepared and they can have all their documents right then and there. As always, if you have any questions, you can email affordablehousinghelp@gmail.com. However, I do recommend commenting below. That way others that may be going through the same circumstance as you, they could see the information. One thing I do ask, before you email me, please watch the videos I posted, because if you email me a question that was clearly clarified in one of the videos, I'm going to redirect you to that video. As much as I would want to re-explain everything, I've been getting a high volume of email, and I obviously want to respond to everyone. So just be mindful of that. To just watch the video. Show me that, at least watch the videos. You didn't just email me without watching the videos. Thus far, I've done videos on income, how to calculate your income. I've done videos on what to expect when you're contacted. And my first video is just how to apply. So a lot of things was broken down. And one of the things I thought of today, I said, you know what? I'm gonna break these videos down even further, because I know everyone have their unique circumstance. So I'm gonna create videos for each different circumstance, and I hope that will, well, obviously not all circumstances, but the main circumstances that's likely to occur. So again, just please watch the videos before reaching out. More than happy to help, but just be mindful of my time. All right, guys, you have an amazing day, and I will post another video in the coming days. And thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel and share this video with everyone you know, so they could be blessed by it as well. Have a great one, guys.